Hey there, my name's Pete and I like pictures. In this video, I will show you how I came up with these abstract shots. Good morning! A new month, a new abstract challenge, and I have to admit, I forgot. There was so much to do in the last couple of weeks and months, both in my private life and also at work. But well, let's not talk about that. When I realized that I forgot to make a video, I went pale, and I was at work at that moment, and my boss realized, and he said, "What's up?" And I said, "I forgot to make a video for the abstract challenge." And he didn't know what I was talking about, but well, the helpful person he is, he tried to give me advice. He said, "Okay, listen, do the following. Get in front of your camera, focus. Right? Focus on the lens and say that one thing. Say, there will be no new video this month. And then show your butt." The true story. So I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because it's funny." And I agreed. Because he's my boss, right? And then he said, "You know, the two of us, you and me, we should be making movies together." And I agreed, because he's my boss, right? But of course there will be a video about, abstract challenge video. This is it. And I don't know if I will show my butt. I don't think so. But first, coffee, right? Is there anything better than coffee? I don't think so. Well, I could imagine a couple of things, but whatever. So this month's abstract challenge is about tools. It's about abstract photography of tools. Very, very concrete topic this time. And on the other hand, very open, so we can do a lot of things. I will see what I will find in my toolbox. And what I want to do today, I think, is to play a bit with focus, and well, we'll see what will happen. Let's go into the quote-unquote studio. Just as if the topic tools weren't manly enough, no, I want to take photos of the manliest of all manly tools, the steam hammer. But I don't have a steam hammer. But if I had a hammer, I'd not only hammer it in the morning to wake up my lazy ass neighbors, right? I'd also hammer it in the evening and had a good time. And that joke was terrible, but well, I think I can do something with an electric drill, and that is also pretty manly, isn't it? For the electric drill, I only had really just one idea in mind, and that is this photo, basically. So looking at the pointy end of the drill, and I made a couple of shots, and I like that one as well. Maybe we can do something with cropping the photo. So I think this might have a bit more impact. I borrowed a real macro lens, the 60 millimeter, the Canon 60 millimeter f2.8, and you see I set the aperture in this shot to f5.6 to have a bit more depth of field. You see the depth of field is very, very shallow, and I like that shot. I'm a bit surprised that it looks really that grainy. I mean, it's ISO 1600, but still, I wouldn't have thought that it's that grainy, but well, still like it. And you see this, it's not edited yet, so maybe we can bring the clarity up a bit, and maybe the brightness, not as too much. The highlights down. I kind of like it that way. Maybe crush the blacks a bit more to have more contrast. I like that. So maybe add a tiny little bit of noise reduction, like, I don't know, 10, maximum 10. 10 is, oh, well, 10 is okay. A bit of color, noise reduction, and let's sharpen that. You see it's slightly out of focus, but I don't think that this is too bad. So sharpen that photo a bit. Yeah, I like that. I really like that shot. So this is definitely a shot that I will use. So, and this is okay. Also very grainy. Well, ISO 4000. What did I expect? At 1/100th of a second. Why? Well, that happens if you're really lazy, like I was that day, and shoot in AV mode, because sometimes AV mode pushes the exposure times up way too high. I wouldn't have needed that because I was on a tripod. So ISO 4000 is just madness for that shot. So I should have paid attention, but I didn't. And well, I like, let's look at that shot a bit more closely. You see there I restricted my ISO to 100. I had a bit more light, and 1/30th of a second is no problem when being on a tripod. So let's see. Well, I don't think that it needs really anything. Well, we can push the clarity up a bit, maybe the sharpness a bit. I wonder, oh, I cropped it already a bit. I wonder how, I think in black and white, it's a great black and white shot. So sharpening up, so we'll have this. You see also here the depth of field very shallow, and if you don't know what it is, I think this is really kind of a detective game, trying to find out what that exactly is. And since you know it's a power drill, well, you will recognize it, right? So I like that shot as well, and well, the others, that is interesting with a bokeh, but well, I think I have my 2 shots. I didn't want to have much more, but I did more that day. Even manlier than anything else is something that is really geeky. This little bit here. I don't use it for what it's intended to use, for electronics or whatever. I use it mostly for my miniature model making, to paint miniature models, and I'm fascinated by this bit, and I will isolate that and will try to take some photos of this part, and I don't even know what it's called. As you can see, I came up with a couple more photos. With this one, I played around much more. I had more ideas. And well, the more obvious shots in the beginning, that's what I do. I try to get rid, in quotes, of the very obvious ideas at first, just throw them out, and so that they won't clog my creative pipes. That's a thing that really works. Just write everything down. That's, I think, for me, this is the basics of brainstorming. Just throwing the obvious ideas out, and then they're gone, they're done, right? You can check them, right? Check this idea, and then you come up with other ideas. I like this very simple one light setup, light from the side variant of that. I kind of like that. I think that could be that metal spring could be very interesting.
I threw this completely out of focus, which I found fascinating, and I played with that quote-unquote effect a bit more later, because we see these sort of double exposure-ish type of ghost images in the photo. So I like that, and I, as you can see later, I worked with that. Well, we can jump in, right? These are not double exposures. These are single exposures. By just simply putting some Christmas lights in the background and holding the spring in front of the lens. Yeah, that's kind of the single most, what's happening my phone, the single most obvious idea, right? Just photographing into that spring. So I don't think I have to talk about more about that. And this is what led me. So this was a shot, and I thought, why not put some lights in the background? And this is the result here. So you can see the, well, if I want to call it creative process behind, so the evolvement of how you get from this to this. So Christmas lights in the background, very cheap $2 or €2 Christmas lights, battery powered Christmas lights, playing with a bouquet. I don't really like that too much, because you see the wires blurred up. And here you see I changed the lens, right, from the 16mm macro to my 60mm macro to my 50mm 182, because I wanted to have more bokeh, opening up the aperture from 2.1 to 1.8 from 2.8 to 1.8 does a big deal. The thing though is I had to add, because I wanted to get as close as ever possible, so I had to apply one of my macro rings. If you don't know what a macro ring is, I made a video or two about macro rings, macro tubes. I think there were 2 videos. You can find the link in the description, and if you're on the computer, also superimposed up here. So macro rings allow you to get closer, so they convert, quote unquote, convert your non-macro lenses to macro lenses. There's one thing, they have a bit of a disadvantage. They're very, very affordable, so this is a big advantage. They convert your already existing lenses to macro lenses, also big advantage. So you don't have to really spend a lot of money to get a fully functional macro lens. The problem though is that you lose the ability to focus to distance or to infinity. So you have only a very shallow area in which you can really focus. But well, so that's why for me, I'm not really into macro photography, don't do too much macro photography. So for me, this is sufficient. If I do more macro photography, I would get a real macro lens. So I borrowed the 60 for this one, right? So more photos like that, also playing around with a bokeh. And then it was an accident. I just grabbed the metal spring, right, and wanted to rearrange it. And I saw these sort of ghost pictures in here, and I was fascinated by them. So this is not a double exposure. This is just basic editing. I don't even know if this, yeah, it's just basic editing in the shot. So this is no Photoshop trickery. I found that fascinating. So yeah, have fun playing with the with abstract photography, abstract tool photography. This is what I came up with. I didn't have too much time this month, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on in my life at the moment. But I'm sure there will be at least one more video this month. I'm working on 2 or 3 videos at the moment. So if you want to join the Abstract Challenge, please don't hesitate to do so. If you have a Tumblr account, post your photo to your blog and use the tag Abstract Challenge with dash or without dash. We don't mind, 2 words. as one of the first 5 tags, or submit your photo to our blog abstract-challenge.tumblr.com. So this one's for today. Bye bye. Till next time.